Hey everybody, my name is Old School Nerd. Welcome in. Today is Throwback Thursday, so we're going to go all the way back to 2009. Yeah, a band that I've never heard before, but I probably should have by now. Bullet for My Valentine. All right, everybody, here we go. Here we go. Bullet for My Valentine, a band that I obviously miss. Now, they formed back over 20 years ago. I think it was back in 1998 they formed up, and in 2009 they released a song called Suffocating, Under Words of Sorrow. What Can I Do? That's a long title for a song. I think it's only Suffocating Under Words of Sorrow, and then it's like, what can I do? But it doesn't matter. We're going to try to react to this. As we all know, most videos from 2000 to 2015, it's a roll of the dice whether or not this will ever get to YouTube, because during that time period, a lot of record labels had no idea what to do about copyright. So pretty much everything you try to react to from that thing is either going to be blocked, striked, claimed, something. And if it doesn't, somebody dropped the ball. Here we go. We're going to give it a try. Hey, if it doesn't get to YouTube, then you're watching it on Patreon right now. Here's Bullet for My Valentine. This is my first time ever checking out this band, so let's see what happens. They're a band from the 2000s, but they're not nu metal. That was one of the harshest times that I had about the 2000s, was the beginnings of nu metal. And there were some amazingly strong bright points like Linkin Park and stuff, but for the most part, I didn't get into it at all. But then there were bands like, My Chemical Romance and stuff that now that I'm discovering them, I'm like, man, I really should have hung around and not missed them. Bullet for My Valentine is literally standing there with shirtless, sleeveless black shirts, extremely long jean shorts, the black they look like Slayer from the 80s, but younger. They're just doing a traditional style. Looking as bad as they can for their age. I accept this. I accept this wholeheartedly. You can hear the bass drum doing that gallop. It's a good dynamic. I like the arrangement. I think they're doing a really good job. I know that this is one of the bands in that late 2000s, like, My Chemical Romance, that really had young people amped up. And it was a good part, because people at that time really needed to be amped up, because that was a rough time. Music-wise, yeah, I'm feeling it. You're asking me, well, why'd you stop it again? You know why. The song was made in 2009. You know why. I do like that. I do like that fill. Spaced fill is really nice. Let's do a pro and a con, okay? Mainly because I have to stop the video so I don't get a strike. Pro, I do like that hook. Dun 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 dun. And not only do I like the way the hook is done, but instead of it being hit notes, they're kind of rolling with the drums to where it feels like something is speeding up even though the tempo doesn't change. You do kind of like that. Con, just like a lot of bands during this time, and a lot of bands in the 90s as well, all music was designed to see, even then, instead of being artistic expressions, almost every band was under intense label pressure to make stuff that they could play on the radio, which means it had to follow that radio format. Verse, chorus, bridge, solo, breakdown, reprisal, chorus, ending. I get that. Sometimes you can't get away from that. I'm glad that now, I don't know about in the US, but in a lot of places outside of the US, Europe, Asia, Australia, South America, and even in African West Asia, you're seeing bands break mold. You have a lot of experimental, progressive, modern metal, and rock that break the format just to be artistically different, to catch the people's eyes, because a lot of people are exposing music on YouTube and they're not relying upon labels. Now, that's not to say there are not really good labels out there. I mean, I could say Nuclear Blast, I could say Napalm, I could say A Rising Empire, I could say Century Media, I could say a bunch of different medium independent metal labels that are saying, you know what? We're not so much worried about getting our artists on the radio in the US or in Europe, but we are wanting to make sure that our artist can put forth what's in here, their art. Be as creative as you want, because we're finding out now the US is trying to catch up. There are some bands in the US that are beginning to do that, howbeit most of them are doing it independently unless they can get a hold of one of these rock, metal, mid-major labels that allow it, where they're not concerned about radio play. They're concerned about being who they are, putting forth their sound, their art, and bringing in fans that appreciate that. And I'm noticing that there's no way I could have a channel with 61,000 subscribers and over 7 million views if that wasn't the case. There's a bunch of really good videos out right now from Nick Nocturnal, Tank the Tech right now, talking about how the whole copyright thing has gotten out of control, but how they're also saying that, and they're even, both of them even mentioned it, and I'll tell you right now, this video you're watching right now, it may never get to YouTube. You might be only seeing this on Patreon because of the time set this was made, and it was a US label at the time. US labels are still very strict on copyrights, like somehow me reacting to this is going to destroy the band or infringe upon their money-making skill. This song is from 2009, dude. No radio is playing this song, okay? And the fact that a few thousand people might see this and go look at it, you're welcome. Do you see what I'm saying? So, Tank the Tech, Nick Nocturnal, Charismatic Voice, myself, I know Tank personally. We've spoken many, many times. He's a great guy, amazing reactor. I haven't spoke to Nick too much. I think I've talked to Charismatic Voice one time. But those are the three reactors that kind of channel, they kind of inspire me to do different things. And all three of us run into the same problems. We're stuck in this thing where we're trying to get these bands and their music out to you guys to say, look, this is what's coming. This is what's amazing. I love this. I love this from each of our different points of view. Charismatic Voice is going to tell you everything you want to know about vocalism. Nick is going to tell you everything about guitars and arrangement and how to play songs and hooks and stuff and all the little intricacies. Tank's going to talk to you about the gear, the setup, the history of the band, what they do on the road, how it is, and give you that insider view as to what it's like to be in a band. And me, I'm going to just give you 40 plus years of rock and metal knowledge and work in studio work, doing arrangements, percussion, doing composition, and designing the flow of art. 4 different distinct points of view. And all 4 of us have the same issue that we deal with every day. And that's working with labels and bands, because so many times, and I'm going to tell you, I can't count it on 2 hands. I would literally have to carry the 1, okay, on this edition. How many times I do a reaction, the band message me directly and go, thank you, that was so amazing. Thank you for sharing our art and our music, and thank you for the compliments. Thank you for the critiques. You're right about that, and that's exactly what we were looking for. That's what we tried to do, and we're hoping to do something this and that and that, and we're going to be going on tour. Telling me how much they loved it, and the publisher, the copyright, blocks it, claims it. I got a strike one time for that, and the band. And I'll message the band. They're like, "There's nothing we can do." Does it happen? Yes. Does it happen a lot? No, because a lot of those bands contacted their labels, and those labels contacted me and say, "Hey, how can we work together? Because you're not trying to steal our music, you're trying to promote our bands." Because that's what I do here. You share with me bands that you love, that I don't know about. I react to the music. Then I go, man, this is really cool and cool. And because you shared with me, I share back to you, there are other people all around us who watch that. And they go, hey, they're right. That is a cool band. I'm going to check them out. The band benefits from that. The label benefits from that. And a lot of labels out there, and if you want to know who they are, I'll tell you who they are. If you want to know who doesn't, well, I'll just say they're not amused. That's a running joke and everybody knows what I meant. I think I've paused it long enough. I don't have a watch. I was just looking at my wrist. I'm just trying to. It's a song from the mid-2000s. It's going to be at least claimed, if not blocked, for at least 48 hours. I promise you. Let's go. I'm going to do that. That's pretty good stuff. That's pretty good stuff. Okay, Bullet for My Valentine. Suffocating Words of Sorrow. You know, I like the sound. I like some of the dynamic. It is very 2000s radio play formatted, and that's okay. They put enough of their own selves in there, little bits that are unique to go, hey, I like what they're doing there. But if you don't hear Iron Maiden, early Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, bands that we all grew up on going, man, that's traditional metal, like it was in the 80s. Not hair bands. Didn't say hair bands. I said traditional metal of the 80s. You can hear it in there. You can feel that those are the bands that inspired them and they carry it forward, and you got to appreciate it, because I know Sure as shit I do. My name is Old School Nerd. This is a Throwback Thursday reaction to Bullet for My Valentine, Suffocating Under the Words of Sorrow. And because it's a throwback, you may or may not see this. If you do, they were being nice. If you don't, go to my Patreon, because that's where it's sitting. Which means if you're watching it, you already are on my Patreon. Thank you!